Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing well. We're going to talk about freight, talk about shipping demand for freight shipping collapsing. We're going to talk about a warning from Bank of America, and then we're going to try and tie in, there's rumors that UPS may be coming into a pretty sizable layoff. And it's because of this, so it's going on right now. Less people are buying things. But let me first start with this. I put out a video about a couple weeks ago saying that deflation has begun, and people just, went all up and down Ninja. You have no idea. It's inflation that we're dealing with right now. And I want you guys to understand, Father Time doesn't walk in and just go, oh, it's time for inflation, and click on a switch and everything inflates at once. He doesn't say, oh, it's time for hyperinflation, click it on and everything hyperinflates. It's the same thing with deflation. Deflation does not start all at once. It starts in certain sectors. And in that video, I talked about how, and Netflix hadn't even come out with their numbers, but I said I expected their numbers that were going to be coming out soon were going to be horrendous, because people, you cannot fight the fact that people only make so much money in a month. So they have to start trimming the fat in their monthly budget to pay for that more expensive gasoline or the higher priced food to put in their bellies. That is just a fact. So subscription services fall off a peak. We've just seen now Disney coming out and saying that their stuff is falling off a peak too. And yeah, I get it. It's because they're woke. Hey, go woke, get broke. I get it. And that part I absolutely love. But the fact is, not everybody is canceling their subscriptions because of that. They're canceling them because they don't have the money to pay for them. Next is freight. They start to slow down their spending on stuff from Amazon. So it's Chinese crap from Amazon, okay? That is just a fact, okay? This is what is really happening. Well, last month, the freight index in the country dropped 26%. I'm not talking about the freight index. I'm talking about the amount of shipments going, around the country. And that is going to cause trouble everywhere, okay? So this is a warning from Bank of America. And again, the UPS, there's a lot of rumors that, murmuring of layoffs coming, and it would make sense, because if there's less stuff coming out of Amazon, quite frankly, one of their largest suppliers of their business, what would they need all the drivers for? And we know that UPS expands and contracts massively during holiday seasons with temporary employees. There could be a bigger layoff. So that's a warning just to keep an eye out. If you're working for UPS, I'm not saying go quit your job, but start looking, have options out there, all right? Don't think that this is the one true end all be all of a job. Just keep your options out there. Be smart about things, okay, guys? It says here, this is out of FreightWaves. I'm going to link the story below. It's entitled Bank of America Sounding the Alarm on Collapsing Freight Demand. It says demand for truckers is at a 22-month low. It says shippers' outlooks on rates, capacity, and inventory levels are matching attitudes not seen since May and June of 2020, when the pandemic lockdown set freight volumes into a historic decline. In Friday, note to investors, Ken Hoeksetter, the managing director of Bank of America's Trucking and Research, wrote that shippers' view of demand is down 23% year over year. The proprietary truckload demand indicator hit 58, the lowest since June of 2020. Ken, you watching the Economic Ninja? Because that timing of that report, pretty interesting. Just saying. Joking. Hoeksetter, hopefully I got that name right, said the shippers' view of rates have melted down, hitting a low not seen since May of 2020. Bank of America's survey represented a view of 44 shippers in industries including retail, consumer goods, and manufacturing. Guys, I have met some of you going on the road, and in Denver, I met a very nice couple that own a successful shipping company. They said that was the reason they came to this channel, when they were hearing about our updates with me and Eric from Sage News talking about the shipping index and freight and all of that stuff. And they say that it is a very hard business out there, and they are in tune with what's going on. They're watching channels like this and other channels on YouTube, trying to keep the pace of what's going on in the economy so that they can build or contract their company properly. That's what's important, right? We take this information and we put it to work in our own finances, our own lives. He says here, meanwhile, these shippers are finding it easy to find capacity to move their loads. Move their loads. And that's easy. It's easy to find trucks now to ship your goods, because there's an abundance now of trucks, of employees to ship, because the freight has fallen, right? It's not that we have a ton more trucks on the road or a ton more new drivers. It's that we have less goods to ship, okay? So that means the price per pound, or the price per load, is drastically dropping as well, because people are going to start going into bidding wars. They need work. It says a few examples from the Bank of America survey illustrates that data. One food shipper said it was receiving more cold calls from freight brokers rather than those brokers having to seek the capacity for shipments on their own. A shipper moving home building products said flatbed capacity is loosening slightly, though it's still tight. And a representative of a forest products company said rates were beginning to soften as truck capacity opened up. Guys, that's also going to affect the price of lumber. It'll take a while, but those prices should be reflected at stores soon because costs for getting those raw materials to the stores are dropping. We're also seeing the same thing since, remember, interest rates are exploding, so home mortgages are going up, and we're seeing the demand wane for these home builder products, because home builders, if you ask them right now, they're looking bad. They're not liking the outcome. You know, you're now seeing Zillow and all these places saying, we're revising our stuff down or revising down. And people tell me all the time, yeah, but look, Zillow's still positive or Redfin's still positive for next year. I'm like, just wait, hold my interest rates and watch this. So all of these costs are eventually going to start coming down. This is the beginning of deflation. Now, could this change tomorrow? Yes, it can, but I don't think it will. And I'm waiting with bated breath for the next 30-day marker on these freight numbers, which I believe are going to continually come down. Now it says FreightWaves has previously reported that a sharp, painful downturn in the U.S. trucking market is coming. The Friday note to investors, the latest indicator of the trucking bloodbath that many in the industry are spotting. And this is a quote from Dan Guzman, San Antonio-based fleet owner. He says, the way the rates are, you have to run twice as hard to make ends meet. And let's stop on this. I'm going to link that below. It's very important to understand that, you know, costs are exploding for shippers, like wages, fuel, insurance is going up. Everything is going up. So even though now you've sort of had this perfect storm for the freight industry, you have rising costs coupled with slowing demand and less jobs. That is very dangerous. And I want people to understand that is, if you're looking at going into this industry, look at it very carefully. Position yourself. If you work for UPS or FedEx or any of these companies that literally need companies like Amazon to keep selling goods to people in order to keep your business in business, you have to be very careful, okay? Demand for these shippers is falling right now. I believe it's going to continue, and then it's going to be a cascading effect, and that's how deflation starts, and that's how it ends up getting really big. And honestly, deflation is going to take possibly 2 years to really start to grip the world. But in that time, you're going to see heavier inflation, you're going to see hyperinflation and stagflation. I know it sounds crazy, but just because you have inflation in one aspect, or like, I'll give an example. Lumber last year hyperinflated 400-500% up. That's hyperinflation. And you go, yeah, but that only lasted a certain amount of time. Well, good news. Hyperinflation only lasts a certain amount of time, because after a while of it being so big, you have rioting in the streets or issues like what we're seeing in Turkey, in Venezuela, places like that. It only lasts so long until the people rise up. Guys, remember, by the time food prices hit about 40% of the average household income, people are on the streets screaming, yelling, and robbing things. So these are times to start to be aware that the economy is collapsing, and you're watching it in real time, but it takes time. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.